here, and we don't take it for granted.
Fantastic. I thought you would have said I'm one of those who are always fearless in this country. No, I'm among those.
I think you've introduced me as such, and I have no objections to that because we have been speaking, and I think the comments on our profile pages on social media can speak a lot. Ambassador is laughing. I know why he's laughing. Thank you very much for those accolades. But again, IP,
yes, please.
We speak for the love of the nation.
Yeah.
And I think our viewers today, on one of our topics that we're going to handle, will speak to it because we spoke against it. And luckily, there's someone within the government who has spoken our language.
I hear you. All right, let me also unveil Ambassador Anthony Mukwita, or Anthony Mukwita, if you come from Chadiza, if you come from, Petauke or Petauke, as JJ Banda would call it, you call him Anthony Mukwita. But if you are coming from maybe UK or Britain, as it were, you call him Anthony Mukwita. Ambassador, welcome.
The IP, our host, perhaps the most fearless man on the panel today and ever before. It's a very good evening and ever grateful to be hosted by yourself. And good evening to my fellow panelists, to our Zambian audience here in Lusaka, Zambia, countrywide, and those abroad. It's a pleasant good evening that the good Lord has made for us.
Thank you so much. The fearless part, I always draw the inspiration from people like you.
Oh my God.
So take note of that. And the Comrade Mike Sichula here.
Most grateful.
And indeed the big man besides you, Mpike.
Indeed.
IP, good evening, and good evening to my colleagues, the panelists, and indeed our esteemed viewers. It's always an honor, an amazing honor for us to always congregate here and discuss matters that affect all of us in the nation.
Thank you so much.
And before you go in, I saw PK posted something on his page, I think Throwback Thursday.
Okay.
An image of 20 years, 23 years ago.
I saw that one at the Southern Sun, then Ridgeway Hotel.
Yes.
Many people had actually forgotten where the Lusaka Times come from.
Yes.
Until that dispatch. I'm glad you brought it up, yes, Chula. That was amazing. I was like, wow, how time flies.
Yeah.
And how sometimes, these are unsung heroes. They have done some things. They have laid the foundation for lots of great things to happen.
Yeah.
They are pioneers. That was great stuff.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because when you look at Lusaka Times, I think it's one of the pioneering social media platforms that we all used to flock to check for news.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great work, PK there.
Thank you so much.
Now Zambians know.
Well, yeah, I would like to believe so.
As they say in pop culture, well, if you don't know, now you know, nigga.
That's why my pair of line there was Kale Twayamba.
Kale Twayamba.
Yeah, I was about to say that actually. I was about to say that.
Now everybody knows.
That when I looked at it, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it signifies that adage which says, Kale Twayamba.
Abakali bakale.
Even when sometimes you are told that, no, where were you yesterday? And then you say, but I started before you were born.
Before you did.
Yourself. All right, thank you so much, gentlemen. Let's get into it. And thank you so much to the viewers that have joined us this evening. This is the analysis program. Remember, each time we congregate, we converge here. Our main aim is basically to contribute to the governance of the country. And of course, we dive into various stories of the week. So in case you missed out some news stories of the week, please stay tuned because we will be here to remind you, but add more context as we dive into the conversation. Now, some of the big stories that happened during the course of the week, on top of our menu this evening, we'll be looking at the ongoing fiasco, the ongoing confusion on the patriotic front. The former ruling party, it has spent 5 years, bickering, fighting, and also, dividing itself, But let's get into it. But lo and behold, something dramatic, something good happened on behalf of the PF, which where we did, of course, read a story that the court ruled in favor of Mao Sampa over the PF ownership issue. Remember the 2023 illegal convention held by Mao Sampa, and later on he did appoint, he made some changes at parliament level. Robert Chawinga was appointed leader of opposition, and also Morgan Ngwana was appointed Secretary General of the Patriotic Front. But later on, Mao Sampa, the prodigal son, went back to the PF, and he's been pushing to ensure that the ownership, office bearers are changed at the Registrar of Societies. But now, there are some issues that are going on. My team will dive into it and begin to offload what this ruling means, and also the ownership in that regard. Comrade Mike Schula, I will begin with you. The court last week ruled in favor of Mao Sampa, demanding ownership of the Patriotic Front. What does this mean?
Well, actually, to begin with, I didn't expect this ruling to go in favor of Mr. Mao Sampa.
Yeah.
But anyway, there is a reason why this has happened. And from the, to answer your question, what does this mean? In terms of following the legal process, if we are a nation that abides by the, we respect the judgments of the court, the Patriotic Front should be away from Mr. Robert Chawinga into the rightful owners, in this case, Mr. Mao Sampa. If we are a nation that respects law as it has been given by the court. But however, it is likely that Mr. Mao Sampa is going to have it easy as the court has made a judgment, because already we have seen the other faction of the PF, which Mr. Robert Chawinga seems to be controlling. He has repeatedly stated that he is still in charge of the PF. He said it during the Youth Day celebration in Chilundu, when I expected him to be celebrating the Youth Day in Mafinga, because where he comes from, and since he calls himself an acting president, why not celebrate Youth Day with the youths of Mafinga? But you cross over to go to the opposite direction.
Or anyway, the PF youths as well.
Or the PF youths as well. But however, again today, he, again, during that day in Chirundu, he stated that he was a member, he was the president of the PF. But again, to me, when he spoke at that function, I think it was a wrong platform. Because that platform was meant to celebrate youths. It was not meant to begin to talk about the wrangles of the PF at such a gathering. To me, that was a mismatch. Then today again, he held a press briefing, and of course, without any members following him to say he's a legitimate acting president of the PF, he has maintained that he is the leader of the Patriotic Front. Now, I think here, the problem which is here is that, like I said in my preamble, if we are a law-abiding country, as we speak today, Mr. Chawinga should not be in any way claiming that he is the leader of the Patriotic Front.
Correct.
Because if the court said Mr. Morgan Ngona was removed and the procedure that was done by Mr. Mao Sampa was the right way, then it puts Mr. Robert Chawinga anywhere as the acting president of the PF. Because why he is calling himself acting? Because there's no one who elected him. He's different from Mr. Mao Sampa, who held a convention and people elected him to be the party president. But for him to continue saying that I am the acting president of the PF, I think he's just showing that there is a hidden hand that is making him to say what he's trying to say. Then thirdly, and I think which is my last point, I think the problem that we have is that the Registrar of Societies and the court, these are two institutions that have made this problem to be within the PF for the last for the last 4 years. Because when you look at the Registrar of Societies, like last week we spoke about the issue concerning the NCP.
Yeah.
The issue of changing office bearers has taken the shortest possible time, as we can, if we can recall, compared to what has happened to the PF. And I don't think the Registrar of Societies is going to respond to Mr. Mouse Sampa, who has notified them to say there's need to change office bearers. You know, the problem, the Registrar of Societies is going to hide behind technicalities. The technicalities I'm talking about here is that the Registrar of Societies is going to be, instead of just responding to the PF themselves, they will say no, because there's a court case that is happening between the PF faction of given Luinda in Kabwe. There's that court case.
Yeah.
So now they'll probably say, go and resolve your issues, then come back to us when all the issues have been resolved. Meaning the Registrar of Societies will not entertain Mouse Sampa despite the court ruling. This is where the problem is.
Right.
Meaning there's someone somewhere who does not want to follow the right processes that have been guided by the court.
Right. I'll still come back to you. Let's hear from Ambassador. Your take regarding the ruling by the court in favor of Mao Sampa, which now puts him in the rightful position as a PF president.
I'm a fairly intelligent man by IP, but this story boggles the mind, and I've really failed to comprehend it over time.
You can't put the pieces
back
together.
and forth into court. But let me try to be one of the disciples of Jesus and put it in the way probably would have Jesus would have put it. So there is these guys that have been recovering from some sort of mental illness at China, and then the doctors have deemed it fit that it's probably time that they can be allowed to go back home. They put them in a separate room, and then the psychiatrist draws a little door on the wall, and then they bring them back, and then they tell them, now you can go. And these guys are killing each other trying to go there, but there is a brick wall. They are hitting each other, they are falling, they are hurting themselves. It's acrimonious. But there is one guy in the corner, he's just seated, and then they go and ask him, guys, said, your friends are killing each other there. Said, some guys were so that's the way I'll try to tell about this story. Otherwise, if I go through the mechanics of who owns this and who owns that, I think I might lose some of our respected viewers. Because, for instance, one of the basic questions I ask, because I like to speak in basic strategic communication, is, so if the party has been given back to Mr. Miles Sampa now, and there was an agreement between Mr. Miles Sampa and Honorable Brian Mundovile, a consent judgment that he wants to make peace and not war, he's going to give it back to Honorable Brian Mundovile. So this is the story I'm talking about, Chainama. Is Mr. Miles Sampa, Honorable Miles Sampa, going to give the Patriotic Front to Honorable Brian Mundovile? If so, what are the ramifications? So I'll leave this to our followers, our students and scholars of politics to answer it, because I feel I am not competent enough to unravel my way through this very complicated collection of paradoxes of the PF.
Wow.
Because could you quote my keys somewhere?
And just watch.
Yeah, little sharp. For this is never quote my keys.
Now decide.
So until we find who quote my keys, or whoever is controlling the paymaster, this to me is like what we call in communications with PK. It's a story of news is history in motion. It's going to keep unraveling one turn after another, one layer after another, like an onion. That's my take.
Let's hear from PK.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a very complicated issue. First of all, there are many people...
And by the way, we've been at this story for the last 4 years.
Yes. Keeps changing, dimensions and colors.
Yeah. First of all, I see people are celebrating that finally the PF is back in the hands of Mao Sampa.
Yeah.
That's not the end of the story. One of the things that you need to look at is the fact that whoever the architect
Yeah.
of this script has already achieved what they intended
Indeed.
to achieve. They've split the PF.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you look at the energy that is in the Pamosi now, PF Pamosi, if you look at the energy that is in Tonse Alliance, that energy should be in one place.
One port.
Correct.
But those two places of energy are pulling in totally different directions. So PF is not what it was.
And that is what the devil wanted to achieve.
That is what the
Architects.
architects of all of this wanted
Yeah.
to achieve.
Right.
So while others are clapping and celebrating, they are laughing and drinking champagne and saying, okay, let's keep watching how far this thing will go. But coming to the ruling, we said this thing here, that as we go towards the elections,
Yeah.
you should expect a lot of changes, including load shedding ending, including the appreciation of the kwacha, including if at all we had the power to stop the war in
the
Iran
Middle East.
and make sure that fuel keeps going down. A lot of
down.
things will change. And I'm not surprised that finally the famous or infamous, let's stick with famous.
Yeah, not infamous.
No, the famous Judge
Chocho.
Concept.
has finally said Maus is the owner of the PF. As Mike said, none of us expected,
Yeah.
you know, that kind
Correct.
of
Except the architect.
except no one expected that kind of a ruling. But look, you're going towards an election.
Right.
And then there's a story that I read somewhere that actually there's someone who has reported Judge Concepta to some international institution that looks at the ethical conduct
For what?
of the judiciary. That there was this matter of consent.
Yeah.
That it's in plain sight. It should have been given. That this is what you have decided. I stamp it. Go ahead.
Yes.
But it's been dragging. So there is. I'm told that particular organ where the matter has been reported. It's a very stringent internationally.
Indeed.
Yeah. So you don't want your reputation as a judge
Right.
to be soiled. So she will have to determine, must I play along politically or must I save my
Right.
my career and my
Skin.
integrity? So we can never know, because actually this judgment was seemingly passed in the night. We just woke up
Correct.
over
And
a
it
weekend
was there.
Oh, yes.
and found that there is this development. When did the judge sit? And when was this judgment delivered? But it just happened. So we don't really know the mechanics and the whatever could have happened in the background. But there is also one thing I hear my colleague saying. Chawenga is still insisting that he is the president. But
Yeah.
wait a minute. If the High Court
Yeah.
has said, Anton Mukwita, you're not now
You're no longer
the
president.
acting,
Yes.
we are giving it back to
To the owner.
the owner.
We've looked at the merits and the merits.
Yes, and the
Yeah.
Mike Sichula is the president of this party. If you and Ambassador Anton Mukwita goes to the press and says, until Jesus comes,
Yeah.
I will still be the acting president, in my books, that is contempt.
Indeed.
It's
Clear.
contemptuous. You are rubbishing the judgment of the High Court.
The High Court.
And you are saying, I am the mighty one. I am still the acting president. Forget about the judgment. Is that not what Mr. Chavinga is playing around with? I don't know.
Not only contempt, PK, but
Even
also, if you
blasphemy.
ask me, he's talking about blasphemy.
Jesus.
Also lawlessness,
Sacrilege.
lawlessness in the country.
Sacrilegious.
You know, it's
Yeah.
lawlessness in the country.
Exactly.
Yeah. Then the other question, I think, as I wrap up,
Yeah.
the other question is, yes, the party has been handed back to Mao Sampa, who in his own admission, as Ambassador said, has said the conference that elected me was illegal. So can he claim to be the legitimate president when he's admitted that the election of Mao Sampa as president was an illegality?
Correct.
And while we are at it, now that he thinks he's back in town as the notorious sheriff, will he willingly hand back the party to either the Given Ruvinda faction or the Mundubire faction? Those are $1 million questions.
And we don't mean Zim dollars.
I mean, but I think that makes sense, PK. Look, if you confess that the election which elected me to be the owner of the PF was illegal.
Yes.
And then why should you claim to be the owner of that political party?
You already even entered the consent judgment
as the legitimate owner of the party. Why not?
So the most confusing thing, as Ambassador said, and is normally never wrong.
You're too kind.
Is normally never wrong. That this story is very confusing because here is the issue. Mao Sampa has been given back the party. Then the judgment for consent is due on the 27th of this month. Meanwhile, the now Pamozi faction are hoping to have a convention before that ruling of 27, so that whatever the outcome of the 27th ruling will be overtaken by events, because now there will be a legitimate convention that will elect now the new office bearers before the 27th consent judgment. But this story is
too much salt.
There's sugar. There's sugar.
Not salt, son.
I think sugar.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway,
we are watching.
Let's watch, gentlemen. Let's watch. Let's move on to another story. Of course, we'll still come back to it maybe by next week as we see how things unfold. But now let's look at the Pamozi Alliance, which was formed last week by Honorable Given Ruvinda. But Honorable Ruvinda went further to disassociate his faction-led PF from the Tonse Alliance. This was after the Ruvinda insisted that they were still the owners of the Tonse Alliance, but lo and behold, they seem to have given up. Let's watch the clip of Honorable Ruvinda launching the Pamozi Alliance.
For them to abuse us. Because, you know, if a person decides, I am no longer your friend, please don't allow that person to go to the bank and say, my referee is that one. If a friend is not my friend, when I'm asking for a job, I can't put him as my referee. Because if I put him as my referee, Dinamaboza. And maybe as I'm Pasanchito, because I used his name. If I'm an honest man, I'll tell the bank who my friend is. I will not say it's Ephraim. Even if this one is a poor man, because he's my friend, I will send him Mzanga. Manje ukaona muntu hata mangira kwa mena ina member bambili member at I'm partner, I'm alliance. Ulibe watu wako you're hiding behind the alliance. So now today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to announce to you. There was a meeting here on Sunday. There was a meeting here on Monday. The Council of Leaders and the Central Committee instructed me to come and announce to the whole world that this alliance is no longer Tonse Alliance.
All right, thank you so much, Mike Sichula. We are back again. Quite dramatic. Look, we are coming from the Uka Alliance. From the UKA Alliance, I don't know whether UKA is still there or not, but if you ask State Council, Sakuya Squatter, you will insist that the UKA Alliance is there. All they have done is basically to, mature it into another alliance. From there, we had the OZA Alliance. Whether it's still there or not, but if you ask Comrade and my older brother in Muhavi Lungu, you say the OZA Alliance is still there. We have just matured it. Whether that is true or not. We also had the People's Movement Pact, where Dr.
Yes, it's still there.
Where Dr.
Fred Membe
now is the president.
Yes,
he's still there. Yes.
Yes, still there.
There's another alliance.
Council of Elders.
Yes, Zambia Alliance for the Fourth Republic.
I haven't heard that.
That one I haven't.
Yes, that's how it is called.
These wars are now.
There was Council of Elders.
We are one Zambia alliance. That is the one that has elected Kapembwa, Simbao, and Dodia.
We are one Zambia alliance for the Fourth Republic.
I think they are also part of the Council of Elders, because the Council of Elders, I think, oversaw the election of Kapembwa Simbao from Woza. Oh, it's just some onions.
We'll get to that. Don't worry. Just put your thoughts together. Don't worry. We'll get there. Yeah. Let's deal with the Pamozi Alliance. I just want to give you a list of the alliances we have in Zambia. And yet you are saying the opposition, they should unite. Comrade, Pamozi.
Quite interesting.
If I want, I can sing for you.
Pamozi.
Okay. No, when you look at the weddings, all right? Tonse plus Tonse meaning we are together in basic terms. Tiende Pamozi again, it also means
together, but let's move now.
Let's move together. So in all, the objective seems to be the same. Let's come together for the benefit of us maybe being a stronger political party to dislodge the UPND from office. That is the objective. When you look at the players who are in Tonse are the same players who are in UKA. Now they have jumped into, I've lost count of the alliances, so I'll just say they have jumped into the Tiende Pamozi, PF Tiende Pamozi alliance. But one thing that caught my attention when Mr. Lubinda was announcing this alliance to the members of the general public, when you look at the body language of the people that were, I hope the director can show the video. When you look at the body language of the people who were seated,
the delegates,
it was speaking different languages. There were those who were in for it. They could even they were even singing along with Mr. Lubinda.
They could feel it.
They could feel it. But there were those others, you could see on their faces that they were doing it as just for collective responsibility purposes, but they don't mean it.
When you look at Dr. Kambwiri in that picture, he's not really moved. Huh?
It doesn't seem
like he's present, but he's not present.
Like the Bible says, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak.
Yes.
Ephraim there.
Ephraim, I saw the Chawama member of parliament. He sat behind.
Yeah.
He looked lost. So what I concluded was that the meeting might have taken place to say, okay, we should transition from the Tonse. Let's break away from Tonse because we cannot work with Honorable Brian Mundubile. Let's leave him the way he has decided to go, but let's jump on away from this Tonse as a way of trying to say, let's there be one Tonse alliance, not two Tonse alliance of Mundubile and Given Lubinda. They have come out. But it seems, yes, that meeting might have taken place, but I don't think all the people that sat on that during that day when they were making that announcement might have been present or knew what was happening. But for the benefit of saying, let's portray a picture to the general public that we're united, let's go and be present when this announcement is being made. But the people there, to me, the body language spoke volumes than what has come out. Yes, a number of people expected the likes of Kambwili and others to speak, whether to react, whether they agree with the position or they don't agree. But it looks they have taken a seat back. They don't want to issue
in the forefront.
Yeah, to issue comments whether they like it or they don't like it. But they're just going like they say, ukwalolo mwela. You're just going by the wind. Let's see where these processes take us through. But however, one thing that is cardinal in all this is the aspect of assuming one of these alliances formed government. I think this is a pattern of what is going to happen. You just wake up one day, the leader of the alliance says, no, we have moved away from this alliance, we have formed another alliance. Meanwhile, they are in government. But the good part is that the Zambian constitution does not subscribe to a government of coalition. So all these alliances people are making, they're just for the purposes of convenience. In the event we go into government, the person who becomes the president holds the final say to almost everything. You people who are in an alliance will just become chola boys or followers. You don't have any say. But the problem that comes in is that when I checked the social media, people were asking to say, I think you are now confusing us. And the person who is saying this is a voter. So if you, the leader of these political organizations, are going to confuse the people that want to vote for you, then what you are doing must be cross-checked, and what you are doing must be subjected to scrutiny. Are you doing it for yourselves, or you are doing it for the Zambian people who are depending on you? Because there are certain Zambian people who feel there must be a change of government. But how can this change of government happen when the people you are depending on, the political leaders in the opposition, keep changing from one camp to the other, You may end up with a situation whereby one or two voters out there may decide not to vote. And it will become a loss on you, the opposition, and again on the governing party.
It's basically undermining the voters themselves, if you ask me. Pike, your take, Ambassador, you come in it.
Indeed.
My take on this IP, the launch of PAMOZI, PF PAMOZI Alliance, was a leadership contest. It was a leadership contest because Tonse already had a chairman and presidential candidate. So Mr. Luvinda needed to look for something that announces him differently. And so they had to come up with the PF Tonse Alliance. It took time to give history, to try and validate the action. But the long and short of it was a leadership contest. Who did ECO leave in charge? He left me in charge. You can't love ECO, and they hate me. Reminds me of someone who said, why do you hate me?
Is it because I'm black?
Is it because I'm black? Wow.
So Mr. Ruwinda played to the emotions of some people to justify the decision that he had taken. But guess what? If he says we are going to work with the other alliances under the PF Tonse Alliance, and if it was about unification, he should have played it low, down, and make every effort to reconcile with the Tonse Alliance leadership. I think we put out something on our page, KBN, and we said what has happened makes the possibility of reconciliation an impossibility.
Indeed.
Because it's like saying, we have thrown you away, you don't exist. get the hell out of here.
We've formed our
We have
own.
formed our own.
Special purpose.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
It closes the door.
It closes the door.
Yeah.
So they should
I read that one. I thought it was quite poignant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should have let this thing play out to create
Quietly.
room and leave, chance for negotiation, a possibility. In the context that things have unfolded, it's very difficult for the two to reconcile, because if they reconcile, what will they become?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
PF Pamosi or
PF Pamosi,
Tonse Alliance
Tonse.
or Two Tonse Alliance,
Yeah.
whatever they will do. You
Yeah.
see what I mean?
Yeah.
Correct.
So it really waters down the effort of unification. There is also one issue that I need to reflect on.
Sure.
Who is really now the recognizable leader of PF Tonse Alliance? Internally, conveniently, Mr. Ruvinda was left in charge.
Yeah.
Legally, the law has said the one who was elected during that illegal conference is the president.
So hold on there. When you say illegal conference, how do we quantify the illegal conference, and who? How can I put it? Who should call it illegal?
Well,
and who
we-
should legitimize it?
We already discussed the fact that the president who has been given back the presidency has accepted that what
What
elected
it did
him
was illegal.
was illegal. But
By own admission.
by his own admission,
And
but
papers presented in the courts of law.
but that has not been validated by the court.
Okay.
So whether it was illegal or not, the court, what we know today, has said you
was-
are the president
Right.
of
Mao
that.
Sampa.
Yes. So now that creates confusion between Mr. Given Luinda
I see.
and Mao Sampa, because Mao Sampa legally is the one who should be running that ship. Mr. Ruvinda now must be answerable to
Mao Sampa.
Mao Sampa. But internally, administratively, conveniently, the one who is recognized is Mr. Ruvinda. So now tell me what the PF
Wow.
Pamosi Alliance is going to go with, the legal route or the convenient route?
Wow. I get that.
You get
Too much
Yes, I
sugar.
get it.
Too much sugar.
Too much sugar.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that is where now the real confusion starts from. Is this conference, will Mao Sampa honestly humble himself to say, I want to correct the wrong that I will submit to Mr. Given Luvinda, even though I'm the legal president?
The legal president was elected illegally.
Illegally.
Okay.
So that is where now the PF Pamosi Alliance stands. Whether they are Pamosi indeed is one thing that we are going to see in the next few days.
Wow. There's a lot, actually.
There is.
There's a lot actually to talk about. All right, gentlemen, let's move on. I think I had a lot of questions around that. Maybe let me insist, Piki, I'll come back. I'll still come back to you. Is it all about egos? Is it all about, that sense of entitlement? It has to be me. Edgar Lungu, so it has to be me. Or, I don't know. So I'm the founder of the PF. No one else.
It's two things from where I stand.
Yeah.
Number one is a question of entitlement. What you have seen, and that came out very strongly in the speech, the long speech by Mr. Luvinda. It took us back to how he and Nakachinda worked so hard to draft the 14 rules of engagement.
Correct.
And one of the key rules of engagement was to say PF will be the anchor party.
I was coming there.
That has come back now. So whoever
It
wants
has to remain with them.
they just at all costs it has to be them to be the anchor party. So
That's a selfishness, if you ask me.
There is no room for negotiations.
Yes.
There is no room for forming an opposition government of national unity. You have to dance to our terms, and that deflects the interest of Socialist Party. That deflects the interest of the Zambia we want. That deflects the interest of citizens first. You want us to come and join you,
And escort you.
but you don't want to recognize what we are bringing to the party. So let's go.
Yeah.
Each one
For himself.
but God
For us all.
For us
Yes.
all. We'll all be praying to God. God, I should be the one
Wow.
to win this thing. So that is number one. It is for me the issue of the PF is this sad reality of entitlement.
Yeah.
That is very sad, because they should have been the bigger ones and say, look, yes, we have the structure, yes, we have the numbers, but let's be inclusive. Let everyone feel part and parcel of this. But the very fact that they have gone back to saying we are the anchor party, that already is a no-no. That's number one. Then number two, the other issue that the PF factions face, unfortunately, is that's why you have Chavinga still insisting he is the president.
Yeah.
There are now elements of chancers who can say, that one is weak and that one, if we can give that one some money and that one will continue sponsoring confusion. So there is also now some element of sponsored confusion.
Yeah.
So you never know whether it is Pamozi or which is sponsored, or whether it is Tonse which is sponsors, or which is Chavinga who is sponsored. You can never tell.
Correct.
So it will need to take the discerning eye and spirit of a voter to know what's going on there.
I agree with you. Ambassador, when you look at the logo, for me, I was speaking to Piki, I think 2 days ago, to say, look, I pay attention to details. You know, when things happen, for example, I'll take my time to critically analyze pictures, the speeches, and everything. On the speeches, I will be honest to tell you that when I listened to Honorable Given Lubinda, I saw it was basically some forms of bitterness in there, you know, and some forms of disunity, not willing to unite the party and everybody else, because by now maybe you should have been, as Piki has mentioned, you should have been calling on those people you expelled to say, can we come together now here? But for him, it was about, God, dunamis, all those like that, you know what I mean? The moment you bring those words, you are exhibiting your bitterness as a leader, which is dangerous when it comes to leading an organization. When you look at the logo of the Pamozi Alliance, for me, it's a symbol of the PF. You check on the screen there. It's a symbol of the PF. It's a fist. And then you call it an alliance, which is contrary to the Tonse. The Tonse logo, for me, it seemed to be a bit neutral, if you ask me. It's like, you know, we come together. It's a Tonse.
Yeah.
But the PF, it's a fist. You know, how does it play when it comes to analyzing that? Or maybe that is useless for you.
No.
For me, it's important, though.
It's all about optics.
Yeah.
We are on a visual channel. When you're listening to radio, you are listening to an audio channel. You are reading. It's all that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's all about perceptions, and all these things matter a lot in as far as perceptions and optics are concerned. But maybe before I get to your important question,
Yeah.
I would like to say, with hindsight and as an analyst and a student of politics, that the man who seems to be having the last laugh right now is the Honorable Member of Parliament from Sorokoso, Honorable Brian Mundubiri. He saw through the noise, and he saw Honorable Miles Sampa there, he saw Honorable Robert Chavinga there, he saw some court action flying around, he saw Honorable Given Lubinda, and then he looked at the time frame that it is going to get for us to get to the time that Parliament is dissolved, to a time that there will be a nomination, and he said to himself, looking at the science before me, I'm not going to be part of this noise. I am going to make sure that I get in touch with other like-minded people and see whether we can get something with clarity. And if you see right now, he's not in the middle of any of the noise. When people are talking about this symbol of the feast, when they are talking about this prayer, when they are talking about being a leader until Jesus comes, when they are talking about it's me whom they left this, he's out of it. You don't even see him. Even when he is insulted, you are not seeing the man. So I am thinking that the man who is coming out, in my limited view of analysis as a political student and scholar, is Brian Mundure. He seems to be looking at it and saying, well, there is that Asian saying that when you miss a stop, a train stop or a bus stop, you better jump off before it takes you further, because it will be more expensive for you to get off the more you keep taking the chances that this train will be better. Right. The next stop, maybe I will see the light. That's the first thing that has happened. And then the next thing that has happened is realistically to ride from the PK here is, so what is the end game here? I can try and borrow a thing of what is happening in West Asia, where President Donald Trump gets into a war and now he doesn't know how to get out of it. You know, but that's, I think, something else that we have to discuss.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, what is the end game of the PF Umozi or PF Tonse? Looking at the time frame, I was thinking, this is a position where you have reached, you have just discovered that this station I have bypassed is the wrong one. If it is not for the entitlement that the pastor is talking about, if it isn't for the self-aggrandizement that the pastor is talking about, if it is for strengthening an opposition, so you can say that the stronger the opposition, the stronger the democracy, wouldn't this be the time to say, I, Given Luinda, I, Miles Sampa, I, Chishimba Kambwidi, should now get in touch with others that seem to have gotten the game right already and say, guys, there is only 2 months on the watch. Can we get together now and make sure that we've got a strong opposition, because a strong opposition equals a strong democracy. And God knows we have been shortchanged for a while, so why don't we get together and work? Otherwise, everything else appears what you are saying. Yeah, because even when you have seen that this ship is sinking or it ain't going nowhere, you still want to stay in because you think anganapela wa PK ikapasa kuli wa PK na anganapela wa the speech analyst ikapasa. Instead of you just remembering that the common ground, the common good, the public good lies in us working together.
Right.
Yeah. So I think I've already covered, including the optics that you've spoken about, the feast, and the tonse.
You have. Okay, let's move on. Comrade, I'll start with you in the next topic as we look at some other, of course, as we talk about the confusion in the PF. There is also some brewing confusion in the UPND as well, where some members are already calling for the UPND to hold a convention. Now remember that calling for internal elections or conventions, as it were, or general elections, as general assemblies, as it was in the UPND, it is actually enshrined in Article 60 of the Zambian Constitution, which provides, which governs the affairs of political parties. So it is mandatory for each political party to go for an internal elections a few months before a general election. Now, there is a gentleman called Longwe who is on record having demanded, or rather exposed, the UPND that as UPND, we are breaching the Constitution of Zambia, which tells us to hold internal elections, because the last election we held expired, that was in February, thereabout. So the UPND is, of course, also struggling to put its house in order. Mike Sichula, comrades.
You know, the UPND as a governing party, they hold the privileged position where everybody else says, as the governing party, you must lead by good, not only by example, but by good example. So, prior to this topic, us handling this topic, there was a media statement that came from Mr. Max Mui, the UPND media director. Instead of responding to the demands that were
advanced by Mr.
advanced by Mr. Longwe, the UPND, behaving as if they are not in government, went on to say this person is like, he left the UPND a long time ago. Okay, that aside, but is it true that the UPND, the mandate of the current top hierarchy of the UPND has expired? According to the constitution, which I've also seen, and the constitution that you have attributed to, yes, the mandate of the UPND expired in February this year. As we speak today, all things being equal, the current leadership of the UPND are in office. They are in about a month in office without having a convention to elect new office bearers. So the problem I have with if the UPND are not going to show leadership by holding a convention, it is a problem that is not going to be something that Zambians need to look at with pride and to say, yes, it's okay because the President Hakainde Hichilema is doing very fine. So even if he is not subjected to an election at the party level, it's fine because he's the president of the nation. I think that is a mistake we're going to make as a nation. Because a political party is a club. And any member who subscribes to a club must abide by the constitution of that club. And if a person does not abide by the clubs of the constitution, such a one, the chances of such a person breaking the constitution of the land, they are very high. The problem I have seen also with the UPND is that they want to look at they want to look at these things differently. The people that are demanding for the holding of the convention, okay, fine, those people were expelled or they left the UPND, that is fine.
Yes.
But let's respond to the demands.
The question.
Is it true that President Hakainde Hichilema has gone a month without being subjected to an election, considering that the mandate should have ended on the 13th, it should be the 13th.
They're talking about 13th February.
13th February, that mandate ended. So the UPND, what they need to do is that instead of rubbishing such demands, they must lead by example, and not only example, but by good example. This is why you've got the likes of the Secretary General. They must chart the way forward to say, let's go for a convention to elect new office bearers. But the problem that arises is that supporters of the UPND, they want to create a situation that President Hakainde Hichilema is immune even to a convention. He must
So
not.
internal democracy.
Yes, they are creating a shield against him, so he must not be subjected to internal democracy. That should worry Zambians. It should. Mr. Longwe, actually, Mr. Longwe, for him, what he's doing, if Zambians are not worried, then we must look at ourselves and begin to ask questions. Are we really believing in the tenets of democracy? Because democracy, whether the party is not in power, there must be a process to elect new office bearers.
It's a requirement by the Zambian constitution.
Yes.
Constitution.
So if someone today,
Council Sangwa would say.
so if someone today outside the UPND or you are just a pressing of the UPND, you are going to support the non-holding of the convention within the UPND, then this person doesn't know what they are doing, because you are breaking the Zambian constitution,
Right.
which constitution President Hakainde Hichilema declared that he was going to protect. So I think what comes out clearly, Mr. IP and our viewers there, is that if I'm the president of the party, I should not be worried of facing an internal election.
Yeah.
If I'm a member of the UPND Central Committee, whatever they call it, I should not be worried whether I will not be elected or not, because you have subscribed to your constitution, and when you do that, you must also respect the Zambian constitution by welcoming everyone who calls for elections of a political party, because it is very important.
Ambassador, why should the ruling party, in this case the UPND, find it difficult for them to hold intra-party elections? Why should it be so?
IP, it boggles the mind, because I think there is that common saying that what's good for the goose must be good for the gander. And the standards are a little bit higher when you are the one in authority. When you are the big boy, you are the big girl in the house, then the responsibility really lies on your head. From my small chair in the corner, from my space on the wall as a fly, I would say it is time you started living up to those standards. I think the pastor here will tell me from the Bible that to those whom God gives plenty more is expected of them. It's right now, again, I always like to give an international and geopolitical example that the United States of America has totally lost its moral position as the world police, because they have gone ahead and broken international laws that are set aside by the United Nations. The international rules-based order has been thrown out of the window by President Trump, going to invade a country and kidnapping the wife and the husband while they are in the middle of sleeping. They have done the same thing by getting in to, invade the countries. So my only plea, because if you've heard our dear president, whom I always say I love so much, he always says this is a country of laws, and if you break the laws, you are on your own. I think it's to get back on track, to put in the blinders and say what's good for a PK, Yas Chula, the speech analyst, and the IP should be good for all of us. So I am hoping that they were misquoted. I'm hoping that was not AI, that they do not want to have this convention. So I think if you are in the driver's seat, it is only incumbent. Otherwise, you end up losing the moral high ground, which we have seen the United States of America lose. The United States of America right now cannot tell anybody not to invade anybody. The United States of America cannot tell anybody not to shoot or kill anybody, because they're doing this with impunity. So if other political parties decide, they will also say, hey, come on, we're going to hold you by the same standards that you're holding us. We look up to you as the ruling party. You are the bosses. You enforce the rules. But if you're not going to enforce, we are going to either challenge you or we'll also break the law. And in the end, it comes back to the word that you used, anarchy. And this is the 21st century. Nobody wants any anarchy. We want a rules-based order.
My further question to you, PK, would be if the ruling party, which is governing the country and all the institutions in the country, is failing or dragging to promote internal democracy, or perhaps comply to its own party constitution, what more can it go in abusing or raping the country's constitution? It's a question.
I mean, as Ambassador said, to whom much is given, much is required. It's a standard, it's a moral standard that by virtue of the fact that Zambian people gave the trust to the UPND to say, be in charge of our affairs. There's a lot more expected than delivering based on the manifesto. and constitutionalism and leadership by ethics is one thing that they can never escape. You talked about Article 60 of the Republican Constitution.
Correct.
Then there is Article 75 of their own party
party one.
constitution.
Correct.
And it says the president of the party shall be elected by the General Assembly every after 5 years. It does not say because you are in power, you are excluded from holding an election. It means they are, before they rep the national constitution, they are repping their
Start
own
with theirs first.
constitution. So what should be the expectation of the Zambian people of a government that cannot honor its own rules, let alone the rules of the
The
nation?
country.
That is where the dilemma is, and we'll leave it to them. But according to what we have been educated, the mandate of the executive currently, including the president,
Yeah.
ended on 13th of February, which means before they go to the 2026 elections, they must submit. Now, this is where, for me, it gets interesting.
Indeed.
Let me be a bit cantankerous. I am happy that they haven't gone to the convention,
Why?
because the requirement is they will, when they go to the convention, they will need to go and submit to the registrar of society the record of
New office bearer.
new office bearers. Now, here is the issue. Most people are saying PF don't have time to go to the convention and effect the changes at the registrar of society on account of time.
Time.
But guess what? Time is an equalizer.
Yeah.
It has caught up with the UPND. They too will need to go to a convention within the limited time. And no one at the registrar of society is expected to play Mingalato against the opposition and only favor the UPND.
Yes.
Every political party hoping to participate in the upcoming election must go to an elective convention. They must file the returns. Now, here is the reason why I'm happy that the UPND didn't do this earlier. If they had gone to the convention earlier, they, you know, the way the cadre say, Tiko Sesa, Tiko Sesa. The UPND would have been hard
I see.
to tell the registrar of society, don't allow anyone who didn't do this within
Aye.
this time. But
Yeah.
they've been caught up in the same snare. So it gives opportunity to the opposition to also quickly resolve their convention issues, sneak in. So
Their
the
applications.
registrar of society right now, his hand is like this, twisted. There is nothing he can do to favor this one or that one. He has to play by the rule.
Are you telling me that, gentlemen, that in UPND, all the intelligent minds we have seen in the UPND, the experienced politicians, they didn't see this coming?
They
That
have-
gentlemen, we are supposed to go for an internal elections.
This is why here on the analysis IP, we have said if you are a Zambian, you are supposed to exercise your constitutional right to speak truth
Yeah.
to power.
Yeah.
The moment you reduce yourself to bootlicking and too scared of telling your leaders that mwala ona la constitution,
Mwala become sana omukere.
you are not just destroying the nation,
Yeah.
you are also destroying the reputation
Yeah.
of the leader. Everyone who loves President Hakainde Hichilema must always be whispering, sir,
Yeah.
there is this in the constitution.
Yeah.
We must observe. Why? You want your leader to always look
Yeah.
above board,
Yeah.
to always look like he's
To
got
be
every,
ahead of the game.
every
Yeah.
box
Ticked.
ticked.
Yeah.
But when you are just out there to make, in fact, you don't want to make him look good. You want yourself to look good by telling him what he wants to hear, not what the law says. That is where the problem is. So I want to answer you in this way, IP. In UPND, you have a number of educated people,
Correct.
PhDs,
Yeah.
very well exposed individuals. But the problem that we have in this nation is as long as ambassador is the president, I must just
Yes.
yes, Mr. Ambassador.
Yes.
The reason why this analysis is not popular
Yeah.
is we are the odd one out.
Yeah.
Correct.
We think we owe it to the Zambian people
Yeah.
That,
To tell the uncomfortable truth.
to tell the
Correct.
uncomfortable truth.
Not massaging the truth.
No, and it's not because we hate anybody,
Yeah.
it's because there is a standard expected
Yeah.
in leadership. Therefore, UPND is doing a disservice to the president by not reminding him. It shouldn't have taken someone within the party to go and write to
Remind
registrar
them, yeah.
and
Yeah.
to go and write to the secretary general. It should have been the secretary general to say, Mr. President, before your tenure of office and ours expire on 13th, can we
renew
hold
our
our
mandates?
convention
Yes.
on the 15th of January?
Yeah.
But now, someone, a junior party member writes, you start with threatening them.
I'm sure he's bitter.
And
I like that one.
and I'm
He's
sure
a
must
bitter
be
guy.
bitter.
They didn't
He's
give him
bitter.
a job.
Or he's sponsored
Or he's sponsored.
by
He's
the
a
PF.
Yeah, by the
disgruntled.
PF.
And I think maybe
You
IP
know, there's
to
still
just
some
add on-
remnants of the PF even in the UPN.
And I think maybe just pick IP to add on.
please
You know,
conclude
one
quickly.
thing like PK has said is when someone is the president of the party and the nation, we must not embrace this outage of saying no, ni muyayaya. No, there's nothing like that. A leader who at one point leave that stage to give someone to come in. I've heard so many comments from the Europeans. They say, no, HH Paka 2090.
Yes.
Where? Which constitution are you going to have HH Paka 2090?
There was Kaunda God in
God
heaven.
Kumulu.
Kaunda
Kaunda
Punch. Eyo, twali umfwapo.
Yes.
There was
So you see,
there was Maduro in Venezuela.
Yes.
Eh?
So there's nothing like that, our dear viewers. Yes, you love President Hakainde Hichilema, but don't push him too far to say no, he can be there as long as because he has delivered free education, so there should be no elections in the UPND. No, it doesn't work like that.
No, but that's true.
Yes,
That's
sir.
true. It's also wrong to think like that because if you want to ensure that nobody takes over from President Hakainde Hichilema, that means the democratic institution, the traits that we have, would be broken, and he would have never been president himself.
Yes.
That's one thing you forget. That he is only president because there is a thing called democracy.
Democracy.
He is only president because there's a thing called free association, greater expression. Now, when you start taking these away from others, and then you are setting a bad precedent. But then there is that old saying that you know, power corrupts,
Yeah.
and absolute power corrupts.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So I don't know whether that's the trap in which our friends are falling into and forgetting that Zambia is supposed to be a democratic republic of Zambia, not Congo, but I mean it's a country founded on democracy.
We do not know. We continue asking those questions. Let's move on to our fourth story now. Look at stakeholders who have opposed the statement which was issued by Chikondi Foundation in Bishop. Why are you laughing?
I think is what Ambassador is, that topic you are bringing up
Indeed.
is almost similar to what Ambassador is talking about.
Oh,
You know.
So I'm trying to ask myself, did Ambassador slip something to you?
I think it's a continuation. Are you talking about Bishop?
John Mam.
Bishop John Mambo,
Yes.
who has advised President Hakainde Hichilema to call off the elections if the body of ECO is not buried. We have to bury the body, and then we can now go back to the general
I
election.
think the bishop, with due respect, is being mischievous here. I see some sort of hidden hand of God somewhere, you know, talking through him. If I were Bishop John Mambo, and I respect him so much, one of the things I would have said is I would have prevailed or pushed my weight onto the Attorney General and say, Attorney General, can you please, I am joining everybody else, I'm joining Fred Membe, I'm joining PK, I'm joining Yas Chula, the speech analyst, I'm joining everybody who are saying that we have to stop this international embarrassment and bring, not to say let us not hold elections. Because, you know, we have bypassed very important occasions. First, November 11 was the birthday for ECL. We never buried him. We came to December 25, Christmas. We didn't bury him. We came to January 1. We didn't bury him. I mean, where does the bishop just get off and say, oh, now we have an election on 13th August. We shouldn't bury. Please call off the elections. It smacks of something, like they would say in the Shakespearean days, something is rotten in the state of Denmark. I think, Bishop, I'm looking at you straight in the camera and say, please steer your train or your car in the right direction. You should be directing your energy to the Attorney General and not to be calling for a total abrogation of democracy. We need to hold elections every 5 years, whether somebody is wrong or right. And at your level as a bishop, I think you know very well that all those that are learned enough have said that the thing standing in the middle of President Edgar Lungu, the 60th president of Zambia, not being buried, is because in June, late June, the Attorney General stopped the family from burying him. It has nothing to do with elections. So it looks mischievous that a respected bishop starts saying, don't bury. When he says, let's hold elections, I mean, don't bury until we hold elections. I think it smacks of some real deep suspicions. But then it appears to me like it's putting the cart before the horse. Because firstly, you know how the problem came about. You know how the standoff came about. And the standoff came about because people were in church. People were by the cemetery. A grave had already been dug, and then somebody took out a court action stopping Mrs. Esther Lungu and the family. So how do you bring in the elections? You know, I mean, it's like bringing in carrots and stones or oranges and stones. I think you have to rethink your position, Bishop.
Comrade Mike Sichula, let's speak to this matter. I know Ambassador has taken, I think, time to, you know, just unpack this issue, make the people understand, but also the bishop himself to understand. Why are we having this conversation? The unburied body of Israel, could it be justifiable enough, or could it be a justification for us not to hold a general election come August?
No, it would not be justifiable enough. Then aside it being against the Zambian constitution, we may not, it doesn't hold that tenacity or weight to say, let's put aside the general elections because we have not buried our former president. This is not amongst the reasons that are enshrined in the constitution that we can force our nation to postpone the elections.
Just because there is a frozen
Just
board.
because there's, we have not buried. There are serious issues. For instance, if Zambia was involved in war against Iran for debate purposes here, yes, those are some of the reasons we can say, okay, because of this problem that is so huge, we are going to put this on hold. But again, you don't just say it on paper. You need to go to the right body, the parliament. You do all sorts of things to make sure that it is done legally. But I think today I want to take a different approach in terms of talking about the issue of our late president Edgar Lungu. I think there's always a soft spot in a family. Maybe if the husband is too hard-headed, you find that maybe the wife will be soft-spotted. even at police, sometimes when you go to police, you find that one police officers will be very strict and tough on you, but there will be another police officer who will be saying, no, don't hold him like that, that kind of a thing. Huh? Or if if this staff officer walks away, this other officer will come to you in a gentle way,
Good cop, bad cop.
Yeah. So I want to speak to President Hakainde Hichilema, and especially Madam Mutinta Hichilema. This is 9 months. Your friend, a widow, you cannot even take a step to go beyond, outside the confines of State House or Community House to say, I think, Mr. Hichilema, I want to do this for the nation. Because the person who is grieving Mrs. Lungu is my fellow woman. Let me go and visit her in South Africa. It has been 9 months when her husband passed away. Let me take that step. So the nation will the nation will watch and see how this thing will unfold. If Mrs. Lungu is going to refuse to say, I don't want to do with anything with Mrs. Hichilema, then the nation will come up with a different conclusion. But you cannot sit in State House or Community House for 9 months. Your friend is grieving, and on the 18th of March, we are celebrating Women's Day. You can't take a step. What does it tell you about the Hichilema family as a household? Mr. Hichilema and Mrs. Hichilema, are they so hard-hearted that you cannot just say, I think, Mrs. Hichilema, let's try this route? You never know. Sometimes they are in difficult situations. You use something that maybe may be a simple way, and you never know what it brings up.
Maybe the Lung family might end up listening to Mutinta Hichilema myself.
Indeed.
It may be a software. It may be one of the, maybe even the Zambian government may not look at it that it can yield something, but I think to me, Mrs. Hichilema also is a part of this government. She's a first lady. I think it is one step that she can try. At least we tried. I sent my wife, the Lungu family said no.
I hear you.
I think, Mrs. Hichilema, you hold this nation something that you can do in order maybe to soften the hearts of the Lungu family, because this is, we can even take it away from the negotiation to say, let's take the case away from court. But we look at it from the humanitarian point of view, the traditional point of view. Mrs. Hichilema, please, you can go with, is it Reverend Sumahiri, former gender, religious affairs minister, and other people that you trust. And
Speakers, women.
Yeah, or other state, or other women's first ladies within the region. She can pick up a call Zimbabwe, call Botswana, call South Africa, call Malawi, call even Namibia. Let the Lungu family be exposed that they don't want to listen to the Hichilema family. I think that's how we can talk about it. Unlike Dr. Bishop talking about let's cancel the elections, I don't think that is necessary.
Wow, that was powerful, Comrade Mike Sichula. Let's hear from PK, your submission, PK. But before you come in, it will be important for me to just highlight a few things. That first of all, let's put this on record, because remember that we've got scholars who are watching this program, and they might think that the sentiments coming from Bishop John Mambo were in line with the Constitution, Ambassador. So we have to clear that.
Indeed.
Because remember, we are here to inform, educate the people. So on the part of educating...
And also to irritate.
No, it's not part of our mandate. But if you will tell you the truth and then you get irritated, and that is beyond our shoes. We have no control with your feelings. You get a point? Yeah, but on the part of education, Ambassador, I was trying to say that let's educate the people that what Bishop John Mambo talked about, it is first of all out of the Constitution.
Yeah.
And the Constitution which I'm holding right now here. Because the 2016 Constitutional Act number 2 of 2016, it is clear that Zambia or Zambia's general election shall be held after 5 years. That is Article 47. So that's what the constitution says. So it has got nothing to do say, but in an event where there's a funeral of a former head of state or maybe a prominent leader dies in the country, the president shall suspend a general election. That is not in the constitution. So Bishop John Mambo, from where I stand and the constitution I'm holding on right now, was offside. Maybe John Mambo, let's assume that he's still living in the past, because I mean he's old, you know. So let me assume that he's living in the past.
Or
Maybe
maybe it
dealing
was
with the
AI.
1996. No. Maybe he could be dealing with the 1996 constitution, which empowered the presidents, a sitting president at the time.
Let me come to the rescue of Bishop.
Please do that. So let me just finish my statement. Maybe he's still living in the past. The 1996 constitution, it was up to the president, sitting president,
When the
Yes.
elections
to
were
call
held.
for a general election. But as you defend him, PK, I want to tell Bishop Mambo,
No, he didn't say he's defending.
as he come to his
Oh, he
rescue,
did.
let me tell him that do not mislead the children or the scholars. The constitution is clear that no president can suspend an election. Pick it up from there.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to agree with Bishop Mambo
Right.
Okay.
from a moral point of view.
Right.
And I think, I don't know what was in his mind, but I would like to think that he was speaking from a moral point of view.
Right.
It would be very wrong for Zambia to go to an election on 13th of August
Right.
while a former head of state still lying in a foreign jurisdiction unburied.
Right.
We will look like we have lost
Yeah.
our compass, our morality
Yeah.
as a nation. I would like to understand and appreciate his sentiments in the context that let's do everything possible before the election to bury ECL. Not necessarily to postpone or cancel the election, because as you have said, if that is what he was proposing, he's proposing an illegality, and we are a nation of laws.
So you say now you sound more with wisdom than Bishop John Mambo.
No, I'm saying, I wasn't there. How he couched this message. Maybe he was misquoted. Maybe he was still speaking from a moral point of view, not from a legal point of view. So we will not have to be hard on him until we speak to him, so we hear his mindset. But I am saying from a moral point of view, I agree with him.
Right.
Zambia, the government, the president, the Attorney General, Mr. Modiro Kabesha, and everyone involved in this must work extremely hard
Right.
to make sure that ECL is put to rest, whether here in Zambia
Right.
or where the family wants,
Right.
before the election.
Right.
If we go to an election, as we will be going to an election, without ECL being buried, it reflects very badly. Let me quote an international commentator. You know, we are a media house. We speak with the international.
We have to.
Research.
Yeah.
This gentleman says to me, he says, this disagreement over the burial of ECL must be resolved. It reflects poorly on Zambia.
Yeah.
This is not a Zambian.
Right.
This is an internationally acclaimed figure.
Yeah.
We're discussing many other things. And
But
he
this
said-
came up.
And this came up.
Yeah.
He says it is reflecting poorly on Zambia. Oh, others may be saying, oh no, our,
It's a family.
our GDP
Oh, no,
is doing well. We have restructured the
The
debt.
debt.
Well, while they sit in the
We've brought back meal allowance.
Brentwood, you call them Brentwood
Bretton Wood institutions.
institutions in the boardrooms.
Uh-huh.
I say, but this
But you
country,
haven't buried
that
the-
can't bury its former head of state.
Head of state.
Must we agree to the new extended facility? No. Let's not give it to them until
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
the election.
Must we lend them money?
No.
How are they going to pay back when they can't even
if they
just
can't bury their own?
Portrays how disorganized we are.
So for
Yeah.
me, IP really, look, this matter, even though we might laugh like this,
it's not funny.
it's very heavy.
Yeah.
It's not right.
No, it's not.
Even the young people in school, they're wondering. I mean, there's another
page
person
in
who
history.
told me recently, said, are you sure that your former head of state has not been buried? I said, no, he has not been buried. So it reflects very poorly on us as a nation. So my plea to the government, in the words of Bishop
Mambo.
John Mambo, please, let's not go to the election without burying ECO. That is not to say
Let's
we
not
should
have elections.
we should not have elections.
No.
Let the election be the impetus
Yeah.
Right.
for us to resolve this matter.
I hear you.
And as I conclude, as we went to elections in 2021, we were in the middle of COVID-19. If there was a justifiable reason to postpone an election, it was in 2021. Because people were dying, there was a transmission, you can't go to campaigns, and we
There was
stopped going
limited
to
movement,
church, there was limited movement.
Yeah.
If there was a time Mr. John Mambo should have proposed for cancellation of an election, it was in 2021.
He actually called for the elections because he was quite critical against Edgar Lungu.
Exactly. So
Yes.
today,
He actually said with or without COVID.
Yes,
we will have to go to
the
an
election.
election. So
Yes.
today, Bishop Mambo cannot be double-tongued.
My God.
So
I can't believe he did
I
that.
end there.
And they're beginning. All right, let's quickly divide a minute if we can. Apparently, time is not on our side. But look at the lamentations we did, watched all of us. In case you didn't watch, these are concerns which came from Cobalt Provincial Minister in Elijah Matambo, of course, expressing concern regarding the Sakanya road deal, which, of course, in terms of the road and poor quality of the roads which have been put up there by the Chinese company there. So let's watch the video, and then later on I will allow my analyst to quickly dive into it.
To such a project. This one, no. He never to go. So, even if I'm not an engineer, my brother, you said these patches, it was small and you've put a big one. First of all, we shouldn't expect patches in a road which is brand new. I'll give you an example. There's a road from Luansha to Pongwe, which was done more than 35 years ago. That road was done by Phoenix. It still stands. I can drive with you from Luansha up to Mpongwe. There's no single patch there on that road. That's a quality of work which we want when it comes to the roads which we are going to do, whether PPP or government project. So this one you just have to do to redo this, especially on this stretch. You can see we can't have patches. There's a patch there, there's a patch there, there's a patch there. This won't last. It's better you redo all the way from the other side up to somewhere there, and then we've got another place there where we have patches all over. It's better you redo that so that we can have quality road. I know this will last in terms of the concessionaire arrangement. It has to take 22 years, and then just to be delivered to us in good condition as well. But we don't want to take a risk of having this type of arrangement. One of my jobs as minister for the province is to check all the projects which are done by the line ministries and make sure that they are done according to those 3 specifications and instructions I was given by the president. A project has to be done in good time and delivered on time. A project has to stand test of time in terms of quality. A project has to be reasonable in terms of cost. So this one, did you deliver it in time, on time? Yes. There I'll give you a mark. Cost, I don't want to talk about cost as such. I know that for us to agree to give each other 22 years, it must have been cost effective. But when it comes to quality, which beats everything, this is poor quality. So please, Bharati, mubike kwa mano bakalamba. Ishimise bo mise oshama Zambia. nangu chiri pari PPP chifukire chachita stand test of time. That thing which happened at Kakoso there, we don't want it to happen here. And I pray and hope that all those bridges on this road, they are to redo in terms of, we don't want to have the same situation which we had. You said no.
All right, thank you so much, Comrade Mike Sichula. You did watch Honorable Matambo there complaining about the road deal which the government has gotten over the roads infrastructure. Quickly, I'll give you a minute. We need to move.
I think Mr. Matambo needs to be given a pat on the back. That is the patriotism that we want, because it's not always the bootlicking kind of defending the government that political parties should always portray. I remember when I shared this video of the bad patches of the road on my Facebook page, some UPND press singers went saying, no, you are just too bitter. They said those sort of things that they normally say. Anyway, it's a democracy. I tolerate.
How can you be bitter? You're the one who manufactured those bad roads.
so you can imagine.
Were you the contractor?
Then later on, media director Maximo posted on his page the same video with a caption "fake."
Oh.
So you can imagine, right? He posted. He just didn't say. The caption just said within the video. He just wrote "fake."
Is it a fake road or fake what?
That I didn't know.
Or a fake post.
But I want to commend Mr. Matambo for exhibiting the courage, because it's not easy. Because that road lies within the jurisdiction of Mr. Charles Mirupi, the infrastructure minister. To me, if Mr. Mirupi, who has been propagating the PP concept, he should have been the first person to go on the scene and speak the way Mr. Matambo spoke. But I know Mr. Matambo spoke because he knows that the Copper Belt is one of the contentious provinces when it comes to politics. So you want to do everything right possible so that the opposition, when they go to Copper Belt, they should not use that against you during campaigns.
Right.
Mr. Matambo, this is the language that we speak on the analysis. We call a spade and not a big spoon. Well done for coming to say the person who is doing that road needs to redo that road, because you cannot give that road for 22 years and within a year it has patches and potholes. What will happen in the next 5 years? I think I'll end there.
Thank you so much for that. Ambassador, your quick take within a minute, if we can.
My quick take within a minute is, I'll be a bit cynical. I mean, is it because there is 5 months remaining before we go to elections that Mr. Matambo has finally had a Damascus moment?
Yeah.
The wax is no longer on his eyes, the scales are off, he can see patches and potholes. Why has it taken him so long? I will also not belabor to thank him for doing his job. I think it's a little bit too late. He should have done this a long time ago. He shouldn't have waited 5 months.
No, that's a diplomat.
Before the
That's a diplomat.
doing
First
this
you
job.
scored someone, then you thank him.
But, it's a great thing that he's doing a job. It should have been done a little bit earlier. But bottom of the line, you gave me 1 minute.
Yes.
The bottom of the line for me, it comes down to the cost. That sometimes before you subcontract or rather contract jobs from foreign companies, you should probably look at Zambians. I'll give an example of the Lusaka Ndola dual carriageway, 650 million US dollars. I always come back to say, and I've heard others such as opposition leaders such as Brian Mondowile, Harry Kalaba, Fred Membe, and others say, can you imagine if you just gave about $400 million to Zambian contractors on that road? How many millionaires would you have gotten? So now we have to wait until there are patches and potholes for the minister to go and see that the Chinese have done a terrible, terrible, horrible job. And that money is not even going to be around here. So I think let this be an eye-opener to us that we should do a little bit of more due diligence and ensure that we leave as much money here in our country. Create 100 millionaires, you know, if not 100, the thousands at least, because I know there is also money that goes towards the cost of production and stuff. So even if somebody says it's $650 million, it doesn't mean there is 650 millionaires.
Right.
But at least if you create even 20 or 30, let this be a lesson.
Thank you. PK, your minute starts now.
My minute starts now, IP. There is no excuse for that road to be in the state it is in 1 year after it was constructed. It's not a CDF project. Because CDF project, we have seen bridges that have collapsed and other institutions of government like ZNS or whatever, they've gone to try and there was a
Repatch
bridge
them
in southern province. Remember?
Yes, I remember that.
So if that road was a CDF project, we can excuse it. But it's a private-public partnership
Yeah.
where the owner of the project actually supposed to be collecting toll fees. It's a
22
concession for 22 years.
Isn't it the same Lusaka Ndola?
No,
This
it's
is
not.
another one.
It's not. Yes. Now, one thing that raises questions about this is someone recently posted a leaked document from RDA telling a Chinese contractor or firm to say road development agents owes you so many millions of dollars you have not claimed. The question is, what major roads have the Chinese done in the past 4 years of the UPND administration? Could it be that road as part of that? Why would
A public servant.
why can't we see RDA a bit more forceful? Why should it take a regional minister to react? We didn't see RDA. We didn't see the Minister of Infrastructure. It had to take the Mr. Matambo.
And I could see the minister pleading with the RDA, say, please, let's do what is right.
Yes. So where were the engineers to certify that the works were done properly?
Yeah.
What was government's role in supervising that work?
Yeah.
Yes, if it's PPP, what was government's contribution? What was the Chinese contractors' contribution?
What is the recovery
Were they
period?
just
What is the quality?
splashing
Yeah.
useless material there?
Yeah.
And meanwhile, they'll be reaping.
Yeah.
Any government that is going to come after 2026 elections, if the UPND is not retained, must revisit that contract and perhaps cancel it. If Michael Sata could reverse the sale of Zamtel, and I was
At
working,
Zambia Railways.
and I was working at Zamtel at the time.
Yeah.
Michael Sata reversed that
Yeah.
thing. What can stop any other government that is coming, perhaps, and I'm saying perhaps,
Correct.
in 2026
Correct.
after
You're being
August?
objective.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
would stop them from revisiting that and say to that
It's just a clarion
Chinese,
call.
pick up your bags,
Yes.
go back to Mr. Jinping
To Beijing.
and say, hee haw.
Oh, ni hao.
Oh, ni hao.
All right, thank you so much. Let's move on to our last stories. We'll look at the new ministers we have in town. Minister of Health has been appointed, and also Small Medium Enterprises has also been appointed. So we're talking about Mfue, Member of Parliament in Mufunelo, Malama, who has been appointed as a Small Medium and Enterprises. We also have Dr. Alex Katakwe. I hope I pronounced that correctly. He's been appointed as Minister of Health in that regards. Let's just have a short clip, of course, just as, remember we're ending the program, so we need to do this, at least as we're counting down, we loosen up a little bit and put up some laughters on our face, and then we'll look at a picture of Dr. Katakwe, the new Minister of Health. Just look at this short video. Yeah, so basically that video, I just brought it so that we can laugh a bit together, because, I mean, there are a lot of insinuations, but an insinuation remains an insinuation, where people are saying that it was after he danced, after he pleaded with President Hakainde, he danced in Ndombolo, as Comrade Situla is saying, then he was eventually given that position.
I thought it was an after effect.
Oh, it was an after effect. No, it was before.
It was before.
It was before, yeah.
That was during Youth Day.
Yes.
Ah.
It was a day before, actually.
Is that so?
see.
Yes.
Wow.
So
Or
people,
maybe the leakage had reached him.
yeah.
that's what some people are saying, that he had gotten
Yeah.
He had gotten a
rumor
leakage.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Say, Wala minister of
Eh,
So when he comes, make sure.
yeah. Kesha Nissan.
Okay, so let's talk about the ministers. Of course, I just wanted us to laugh a bit. Let's look at the new minister now of health, Dr. Katakwe.
I think for me, something that has caught my attention is that when you go to the website of the Parliament, you will not see that the new Minister of Health is not listed as a medical doctor. It's not there. Those details are not there. So I want to believe that maybe it is because there's always a delay by government institutions in Zambia to update their websites.
We need to do a research on that, because I also heard he's a medical person but didn't start medicine.
Yeah.
Maybe it's public health,
Yeah.
like Dr.
so
Katere Kalumba was.
They're also doctors for animals, you see what I mean?
Indeed.
Yes. Yeah. So, but we don't know which
Yeah,
one.
we don't know which one is what. So I think this is now a challenge that I'm posing to many different government institutions, even Zambia at the moment, even State House. I don't think there's a website for State House. Someone in the States, ambassador maybe can help us, because he was there. I don't know. I think, but this is something that we can use as Zambia to say, let's embrace this digital era.
Right.
So that our websites are constantly updated. And we are coming from Youth Day. To me, I think this is a platform, as the president was launching Imisepela app. I think there lies an opportunity for young people that can be co-opted into many of these government institutions. Their job is only to update their websites.
Yes.
Because if someone is in the States, they have the government of Zambia has appointed a new Minister of Health. Maybe US, the Swedish, they want to check on him, his profile.
Yeah.
They don't find it. It begins to raise some. How come they're saying he's a doctor, but the details that he's portraying on the website doesn't portray that of a
Maybe it's
doctor?
Dr. Proud.
Yeah. So I think this is
From Garden.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'll end. Then congratulations to the Mfuwe, 7 months after being elected as a member of parliament. Then you are given a ministerial position, and the good part is that his predecessor, Mr. Elas Mwanga, congratulated him, but I have not seen a public congratulations from Dr. Muchima to Dr. Katawe. So maybe it has been done silently. I don't know.
Maybe he's still practicing some dance moves. You know, he's a maestro in that. You should play that clip of Dr. Muchima doing some moves.
The predecessor. The predecessor. All right, Ambassador, your take over
My
the
take
new ministers
in
in
less
town?
than a minute is that I don't really see any sense in getting people new jobs like 1 month before the next election. But I could be wrong, you know. Maybe politically it achieves something, but given the logistics that goes into a new office and everything else, the paperwork, the changing of names, I think there would have been other priorities our leadership could have had with, you know, before appointing this. So I don't really, but then I'm not as clever as I appear on TV, so I could have missed something.
No, you are. All right, Pickett.
I would like to sort of agree with Ambassador. I would have loved to congratulate the appointees, but I do not have the basis to congratulate them, because from what I know, Parliament will be dissolved when?
In May.
In May.
May, yeah.
So this is March. So you only have April.
Yes.
So
It's a month.
you see, when
Basically.
Parliament dissolves, And anyone who is a minister must vacate the office as per constitutional requirement. So why do I congratulate someone who will only be a minister for 1 month? And tell me, in 1 month, look, let me give you an example. My colleague across the road there, Webster Malido, DG of IBA, was appointed a long time. Up to now, is still going around familiarizing himself with the media houses. You know, he's working, but he's familiarizing himself. Now, this minister has been appointed now. When is he going to familiarize himself with Chingwere Rural, Level 1 Chilenje, UTH, and then come back to make decisions? What decisions will he make?
As well as consolidate his position in the Sorezi East.
Yes. So I would have loved to congratulate them, but they will be in office for less than a month or thereabout. I doubt they will make any impact.
No.
The mess in the Ministry of Health is too much for someone to resolve it
within a month.
The lady didn't resolve it from Chongwe.
Yep. The dog
from Northwestern didn't resolve it. Then a gentleman, yes, youthful and energetic with the afro, should have to resolve the issues in the ministry in 1 month. It's not possible. I would have loved to congratulate him, but he's out of time.
Nagachinda was appointed after, it was before. Was
Nakachinda saved more than 5
or less than a year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was more than 7 months or so.
These would be the shortest.
Within a month.
Yeah.
All right, Ambassador, quickly, can you help us with the updates regarding the ongoing US-Iran war and the effects we are expecting and how we can avoid that, if we can?
Yeah, how we can avoid that, I think in one of the write-ups I did was that this is probably the time that we should escalate our efforts to try and exploit for our own fuel. It's not impossible. It looks as if it's impossible until it is done. And the other one is, in the meantime, is instead of always looking towards the Middle East, or rather Western Asia, as they call it, maybe it's time that we started looking closer to the Northwestern in Angola and West Africa in Nigeria. The worst part is we must brace ourselves now, because as at this morning, the price of oil was hovering at about $103, $150 per barrel, which translates to about 2,000 kwacha. And the immediate thing is that as this goes on, as the Hormuz Strait, where this fuel goes through, continues, we will feel the effects as Zambians straight away, directly at our fuel station here opposite Total, and next there to the supermarket at Cheers. But what's worse is international laws have been broken. Like I said earlier on, that the United States of America, or Uncle Sam as we used to look at them as the moral police, are no longer Uncle Sam at all. Last week they killed 167 girls at a primary school and 22 teachers. Now, can you just imagine if that death was occasioned by Russia, if that death was occasioned by South Africa? You saw President Trump chastising President Cyril Ramaphosa for allegedly killing white people in South Africa, whom they never even killed at all. But nobody is saying anything about American-made missiles killing 167 young girls with 122 with 22 teachers at a school designated as a school. They knew it's a school. First they said we have to investigate. It was connected to either the Iranian revolutionary group, the IRG, but they found eventually that it was just a primary school, and they snuffed out those young girls between the age of 9 and 12, dead, never going back to their parents' home. Yeah, and so people are concerned more about the moral outrage really is. I think there is that saying also, PK by IP in our speech analyst, that who will guard the guns? When things would go wrong, we would all run to the United States of America. Now, if the United States of America is the one that is killing, slaughtering 168 children and 22 teachers, and it's because of the United States of America that the fuel prices are going to go. And this story is just beginning. Today is only day number 15. Luckily enough, they've got mechanisms the President of the United States can only hold on to this war for between 30 to 90 days. After that, he has to go back for checks and balances. And the Congress are going to tell him, because he again invaded without consulting. He did this on his own.
Trump himself.
They asked him, why are you doing this? He said, because I feel it's the right thing to
It's
do.
a feeling.
But you can't just kill 168 people because you just feel like, you know. So luckily enough, we keep praying to God that within 30 days or 90 days, the Congress and the Senate will either give him permission to start killing people legally or to stop these senseless deaths, so that we can go back to our business and the prices of fuel at the pump station may not go beyond this.
Right. Thank you so much, PK, for coming through to the program. We hope to be back next week.
It's an honor, as I said, to be here. I wished I could add the word to the Trump administration, but we'll leave it at the ambassador for another day.
Thank you so
No,
much.
the pastor is best suited, especially where their lives.
We have other matters in Chingola
Indeed.
to worry about.
To worry about the roads. And the
Well,
rest.
and the claims that you know. Anyway, let's go.
Please fill it out.
Ambassador,
Pastor.
thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much, and good evening to our great viewers in Zambia. Good evening for letting us in, like you always do, every evening. I wish the pastor could bring up that Chingola issue.
Thank you so much, speech analyst.
Thank you very much, IP, and I want to pay a special greeting to one of our viewers in Rwansha.
And
Mr. no, in Rwansha, Mr. Mafuta William Banda.
Right.
He told me that he endorsed President Brian Munduire.
Amazing.
He said, anyway, I've delivered the message. Thank you very much, and for following us on the analysis. We are glad that we can get such feedback from you.
Thank you so much. Of course, I did meet someone. I think that was I was passing through Tendere the other day. Then somebody kept on shouting, IP, IP. Then he went down on his knees praying in the middle of the road.
Wow.
Yes.
What was the prayer?
I couldn't believe.
Wow. I think you should tell me the name of this road. I also need those prayers.
Go and tell your friends, ambassador, tell Wapike. Said yes, Wapike. We always, and then he was shouting on top of his voice, you know, in the middle of the road. I was like, what's going on here? I couldn't believe.
Wow.
Yeah,
Thank
so
God.
I thought I could just mention that on TV. You could be watching. I did mention that every Sunday he watches the program, but of course other programming. Thank you so much, sir, for that. And we feel so humbled. I thought as well, like my colleague has done, I could deliver that message live on air. Thank you so much. May God bless Zambia. May God bless